consulted must be appellate, must be everybody you consulted must be documented, maybe by phone number and signature, so that it shows a level of credibility. It's only in Nigeria you see someone develop the software and you just see him write the name of his company and he's the only one that is the CEO, the chairman, the MD, the secretary, the programmer, the design marketer, the whatever. Is only one person. And that's why you see that there's a lot of deficiency in development, because teamwork are not put into check. And if you are not putting teamwork into check, you are going to do a substandard application. If you look down that line of design, you will see a purple line that comes from documentation, because your documentation will start getting effective from that end of design, and it ends at product release. So now, in between design and product release, we have construction. The first thing you do is to do a prototype, and you have to examine your code view. So the prototype and the code view have to be so the products, the prototype and the code review have to be very, very, very clear to terms. You take it back to people who were consulted in your process of design to see the prototype, that are you in line with what they suggested, so that you are not done with constructs and now have issues at deployment, and they tell you that no, this is not what I recommended to you. So you have to go into that. Then system testing and summary. Yeah, the system testing has a phase of 3 persons to test. The first testers are the people who were involved in the design, not people who were involved in the coding or in the construct. People who were involved in the design. The second phase of testers are extreme critic, developers that are not part of the construction, whom you know are efficient enough and skilled enough to bring out faults. Don't be running away from your own mess. You would make a whole lot of mess of yourself, but don't run away. Be willing to learn from each mistakes you make eventually. Then after that system, the second phase are the users. These programmers don't do, like, for example, you have just finished a software, the COVID-19 thing we want to do. What about when we are done and we just leave it as an open source for other people to contribute, other people to critique, other people to talk about? They will talk rubbish, not the rubbish, and improve on the things that are salient facts in the rubbish. So in every box of rumor, there's an element of truth. Then the test summary, you need to write your test summary somewhere, so that by the time you face querying, there won't be so much issue on your part. Then product release, we have operational acceptance and acceptance document. I will talk about acceptance document. Operational acceptance is an edict between you and who you are deploying to, or an edict between you and those who are involved in the design and testing, not construct. But the operation acceptance documents, the terms and conditions we develop in Africa, the agreements where people click agree, most times we just go and copy and paste. And sometimes when we are trying to re-edit those copy and paste of existing software, there are some things we have shot ourselves in the leg. Often a time is always better to consult a legal practitioner to help you in the copyright and the agreement, so that you can have a stable rest of mind, because you have done a test summary. Your test summary will be part of the documents that the legal person will make his own recommendation on. That, for example, let me give you a statement in most of my softwares. It always read that having certified and verified the test as reported by Mr. So, a group of number of 100 and something people in so area, this application is said to be working at efficient performance. You know, you're already sending a signal to your customer. So it cannot just query, because there are reports and inventories of those who did testing. So you would help yourself in some after development edict. So in that place, you can wrap up in the product release, you can wrap up your documentation and now go into training. that training is about enhancement and maintenance of the project application itself. Then if there are two things that can happen at the basement, you can have change of scope document and change control log. Change of scope document is a document that is an entanglement between the developer and the customer. Change of control log is between you and those who were involved in development. If you are not the only one in development, maybe you are taking over the username and password, all the details that have to do with the site, so that there won't be infringements. But in cases like that, this is what most of us do that is very bad as developers. We throw other developers out like they have just partaked in an activity that does not add value to them financially. So often a time there is no residual income on their part, and when you later have future issues, they are not interested in coming, because the enhancement and maintenance involve updating and upgrading. Updating, there will be bugs that you have to always debug. So you need to always be ready for updates. You need to always be ready for improved training. You need to be ready for continuous training. These are very essential. Then upgrade. Maybe you can call the first application 0.1 or 1.0 or 0.001. In 6 months, your documents, your acceptance document already show that in 6 months, you are going to have a review of the application or the web or the software or what have you. So that it already, there is a time, because things evolve. And as they evolve, you must evolve as a system. Maybe also, you also have a place whereby, after a period, you are working on, maybe, let me give you a very good example. What people who use WordPress, there is always update on WordPress. WordPress have versions all the time. So these versions are things that affect your web in a way, maybe in a very minute or minimal effect, but some of the updates enhance the functional value of your website for people who do WordPress. This same thing happens to people who use control panels, people who use one resources or the other. These resources or softwares get outdated. So if they can get outdated, you as an organization also have the prerogative to get ready for such things. So, okay, so it will automatically end into no problem. We'll be waiting if that happening eventually. So can I move on? Are we together?
Yes, we can move on. Or is it something I need to relaunch the meeting immediately so that we can continue from there?
No problem. If you want to do that, please do.
I'll do that right now. Thank you.